Hi, this is Gary with MACMOST.com. Let's look at some different techniques you can use to create a letterhead template in Pages. MACMOST is brought to you thanks to a great group of more than 1,000 supporters. Go to MACMOST.com/Patreon. There you could read more about the Patreon campaign, join us, and get exclusive content and course discounts. Now I often get asked about creating letterhead in Pages. This usually involves having some sort of graphics or information at the top of either every page of your document or the first page of your document, and being able to easily start a new document and have that letterhead already in place. So let's start by creating a blank document, just a regular blank document in Pages. And we're going to use this to create a template with a letterhead in it. So let's create a simple letterhead using different elements in Pages. To start with, I'm going to go to View and then Show Layout. So now I can see the body text and the regular margins and the header and the footer and all of that. Makes it a little easier to work. Now I'm going to go to Shape and I'm going to add a line and put that line here at the top. This is just going to be an idea for kind of a sample template. Let's create another line here and let's put that at some point below the first. Let's create a box and cover that whole area with the box there. And what I'm going to do is then set that color to be something else, like maybe a light gray. I'm going to send it to the back. So now you've got something that looks like this. Let's add some text and this will be like the title. So put something like this, like the name of a company. We'll center that and maybe set the font to something that we like to use. Shrink this text box a bit like that and stick it right here in the middle. Let's create another text box and put something like an address. And maybe I'll stick that over here on the right like that. Also change that to that font and position it like that. Resize the box so it's not too big. Like that. Maybe let's have a graphic. You could bring in an image or something. We're just going to use a shape here and maybe go with a little tree like that. Stick it here to represent some sort of logo or something. Just play around with it. Recreate a letterhead that you're already using or create a new one that fits the style of whatever it is you do. Then I'm going to select all these elements. An easy way to do that is to drag a box around here like this. I want to go to Format Arrange. And I've got a lot of conflicting text wrapping here with all these elements. I'm going to set the text wrap of everything to nothing. So basically that there's no wrapping around any of these. But since I have this box here that kind of is the background for the whole thing, I'm going to set the text wrap of that to automatic. So that means that the text of the body here will actually get pushed down by the background here, but not by any of these other elements. And if you don't have a background, you can always just create one that's just pure white or has no color at all. Just something there to create the space that will then push down any text so it starts underneath the letterhead. Now for good measure, I'm going to select it all again and I'm going to go to Arrange and Group It. So now it's just one element here that I can easily move around. And it's a little harder to accidentally grab a piece there and change. And then I'm going to set Format, Object Placement to stay on page. So the entire thing will just stay right there. See how the body text here is just below it because it's getting pushed down. And I can type something and then I can write the rest of my document. If I were to type a lot of something, I'll just copy and paste here. You could see that the second page won't have the letterhead there because it's just an element sitting here that happens to be sitting on the first page. There's nothing to make it appear on a second page or anything like that, which is how a lot of people will want their letterhead to appear. And before saving this as a template, another thing you may want to do is select the text here. You can see it's body text. Maybe change that to whatever it is that you want to use, like change the font, the size, and all of that. Update the body text style. Do that for all of the different styles in here if you like, or just the ones you want to use. Since you're saving as a template, it's a convenient way to have you start off with the font and style that you want rather than having to change it each time you create a new document. So once you've got that going, I can erase all this here so it's just ready to go. It's a fresh new document. And I can choose File and then Save as Template. And then let's choose Add it to the Template Chooser. And then I can name it here like that. Now I've got this sample document still here. I'll just close that and delete it. And anytime I want I can go and say File New and then I can choose from my templates at the bottom, Letterhead, and I start off with a new document all ready to go with my letterhead here at the top, and I could just type and it's easy to create these new documents. If I ever want to change this, I can simply select this. I would ungroup it and then change the elements and then save this as a new template and then delete the old one. Now let me go back to View here and then Show Layout again, and you can see I've got the header here, and I could do things like having the date or page number in there. Now you may not want to use that for anything, and that was my assumption with my first example. But let's say you do actually want to have page numbering. Let's say you want to have it here in the header right on the right. So I'll insert page number and say just do a plain page number like that. So now my document looks like this. I've got the letterhead at the bottom and a page number here. Now when I do type something and I paste it through, you could see I don't get the letterhead on the second page because it's just an element sitting on the first page. But on the second page I do get the page number. So that's convenient, except that I know a lot of people don't want to have that page number on the first page. Matter of fact, they want to have the letterhead up here over the header, and there's a way to do that. If you go to Document and then Section, there's a checkbox under Headers and Footers for hide on the first page of a section. If I check that, notice there's no header or footer here. The first page just has my letterhead. The second page doesn't have the letterhead just as before, but now has the header and the footer, which could have a page number or additional information. For instance, I could put a little kind of mini letterhead here and set it up like I want, and then that'll appear on pages 2 and on, and I'll have my letterhead only without the header and footer on page 1. In addition, I can move this letterhead up so it's in the same position as the header and footer. To make it easier, I'm going to go back to Document Section and turn off Hide on First Page so I can see where this is. And then I'm going to move this on top like that, then turn this back on. And now I've got the letterhead at the top in place of a header, but on page 2 I've got the header with kind of a mini letterhead in there. Now what would happen if you wanted this letterhead to appear on every page as part of the header? Let's turn this off again here. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to clear out the header here. I'm going to take this element and I'm going to cut it with Command X. I'm going to go into any of these, but the middle one works. And I'm going to do Command V or Edit Paste, and we'll paste into the header. So what does that do that's different? Well, since it's in the header, guess what? It's here on page 2 as well. And it will be on every page, in fact. So it's a quick and easy way to have your header appear everywhere. Now if you're using this technique, note that it's very hard to actually edit anything once it's in the header here. I can't actually double click and get into the group to change anything that's here. And one way to deal with that is to cut it, click somewhere else like in the body and paste, and then you think now you can edit it, but it actually doesn't seem to be editable anymore. So I'm going to undo that. Go back here and notice if I go to Format, there's a button that you may have never seen before. Move to Page. So this button seems to appear when you paste a complex item inside the header. If I click Move to Page, now it's just a regular element on the page again, and I can double click, go into the group and make changes, and then when I'm done I can select it and cut it, paste it back into the header again. Now what if you want to combine these and have two complex headers, one that's on the first page and one that's on every other page? So I'm going to use Move to Page with this so it's not in the header anymore. And I'm going to copy and paste this so I have two copies of it. So let's go and take this one here. I'm going to ungroup it and I'm going to make it a little bit nicer and bigger. So I'm going to enlarge the background here, bring this line down, make this larger, bring this down at the middle, maybe make this larger as well. Maybe more information, whatever I want. I've got two headers here. And let's group this back together. Now the goal is to have this on the first page and this on every other page. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to use the technique of cutting it with Command X and pasting this into the header. So now this one is on every page. This one is still just on the first page. So what I'm going to do is go to Document, Section, hide the regular header on the first page, move this up in its place. Now I've got this on the first page, and then down here I've got this on the second page and every other page as well. So I've got two headers, one for the first page, one for every other page. I'm going to select all the text here in the body and delete that. And now I've got the first page with the big letterhead. I don't have a second page, so I don't see the small letterhead. And now I can save this as a template to use anytime I need. So there are a variety of different techniques for creating letterhead templates in Pages. I kept it simple without using sections, which are another technique a lot of people use, where they have the first page is a separate section from all other pages and they have different layout objects on each section. But that's kind of awkward to use because then you have to insert a section break somewhere at the end of your first page to continue on to the second section. So just keeping it simple using objects on the page for the first page and objects in the header for every page is just an easy way to have a simple letterhead template. Hope you find this useful. Thanks for watching. If you liked this video, click the thumbs up button below to let me know. I publish new tutorials each weekday. Hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out.